What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another installment in the WandaVision episode review series. And yeah, that was a WandaVision episode, all right. I am fresh off the heels of watching the show just a few minutes ago. Literally, that's how I've been doing most of these reviews. I watch the show when it drops at midnight. I immediately come into the office here and I give you guys my first impressions, my initial reaction, what I thought worked, what I liked, maybe if there are perhaps any ever disappointments, and my speculation and all of just my brain explosions. And you guys know I'm gonna be honest with you. You know that I'm not gonna hold anything back. You guys know that I get really hyped about this shit. I think this was the best episode yet. At least for me personally, this was my favorite episode of the entire show so far. By far, this was my favorite episode. What I really dug about this episode, and what I think I dug most, other than the end stuff, which we will get to, was the theme. They nailed Malcolm in the Middle. Malcolm in the freaking middle. Going into this, I did not know what sitcom they were going to be choosing from. I had no idea. I just knew and had heard that it was going to be 90s. But as soon as that intro started, I knew immediately this was Malcolm in the Middle. This was the first show that they were ripping on, or I guess paying homage to, that I was like, I know that. I watched that, and they played it perfectly with the kids, with Pietro as the funny kind of like random guest star uncle, and then the whole dynamic between Wanda and Vision, which, by the way, is my next big takeaway, is the fact that their relationship is messed up. Wanda and Vision are not happy with each other, or at least Vision is not happy with Wanda, because he knows damn well that there's some weird shit going on, and Wanda is trying to reel the reins back a little bit because she knows that he's becoming more and more aware, and it gets really weird. It makes for some very awesome tension moments. I love the beginning of this episode where Vision's telling Wanda that he wants to go off on Halloween night and he's going to be working with the neighborhood watch to try and stop the trees and the toilet paper, and Wanda's like, that's not what I have in your schedule. You're booked actually this entire day because what I put in the programming of the simulation, it doesn't actually add up. And so you can tell that Vision in a way is kind of testing his limits, I think. And Wanda's just like, I have to let him do this because the more tighter grip that I try to have on him, the more suspicious of me he's going to be. So she's kind of trying to take a step back, and we also get to see them in their classic comic book costumes, and they tied it into the overall story so well, and how Scarlet Witch, her whole getup was like a Sokovian fortune teller, and then how Vision was like a Mexican luchador or whatever. Like, that was very funny. They kind of ripped on each other's costumes and what they were even supposed to be in the first place, and I knew it. I called it last week. I don't think I said it on camera, but I was talking to my friends, so it's the same thing. We get to see Quicksilver's comic book suit, and not only on Quicksilver, but we get to see it on Speed too, as I stutter. And on top of that, we get to see Wiccan in kind of his like almost comic book suit, I guess. I mean, he's got red on in some blue, so I mean, Wiccan. And other than the Malcolm in the Middle theme and them wearing their original comic book costumes, which I'm still not over, and I need that Halloween Vision Funko Pop really badly, the next biggest thing is just Pietro, the character of Pietro. And I think that we got confirmation in this episode that Pietro is a form of Wanda's subconscious, that it is the grief or the past that she never dealt with, that she never healed properly, because he seems to kind of be uncontrollable like her kids are, and he knows everything going on inside of her head. All of this stuff. He's asking her, where'd you hide all these children? Were they just laying in bed with their families this entire time? I mean, the way you did it was very ethical. You kept all the families the same. The people on the outside are very reminiscent of the people they are on the inside. I'm just wondering, like, how'd you do it? And he knows everything. He knows way too much. And he talks about how he heard her. And the fact that he heard her, like she called out to him or called him, like just rang his shit up, and he was like, yeah, I'm on my way. And he showed up to make her grieve, to cause problems in her family, to kind of do all of these things and drive like a giant knife in between what she had going on. And it to me, it's the embodiment of the shit that she's not dealing with. It's the very reason of why she created this entire House of M reality, is because of Pietro. I think it's literally embodied in that body is the sense of grief that she hasn't dealt with. Now, I wish I could sit here and tell you guys that I have some grand theory as to why it's Evan Peters and not Aaron Taylor Johnson. I have no idea. If you guys have any really interesting theories, I'd love to hear them in the comment section down below. When they did the horror jump scare switcheroo thing again, and Pietro was like, I love you, sis, and she was like, I love you, I really thought that it was going to be Aaron Taylor Johnson's face, because they showed the recap with him in it in the beginning of the episode, but it was still Evan Peters. So it's like, okay, they're still talking about the fact of how he looks different. Wanda seems to be completely confused of why he looks different. She's trying to test him on childhood memories, and he even calls her out on that, which is furthering my theory that it is a level of her subconscious that created this being of Quicksilver. But I don't understand why he looks differently. Like, I honestly, I feel like a failure as a dude making a YouTube video about this show, and I'm telling you, I have no idea why it's Evan Peters. And honestly, I can't wait to find out. I'm really excited. I don't want it ruined for me. I'm excited to find out why it is, and I hope that they give us a really solid answer on it. And we gotta talk about it for a second, but the kids got their effing powers. Wiccan and Speed are happening, and everything is literally going as I thought. I think that they're gonna keep aging up, they're gonna get their powers, and by the end of the show, they're gonna be young adults going into the Young Avengers. Like, Wiccan and Speed are gonna be full-on fucking superheroes by the end of the show. I like how I said effing, and then I just cursed, but you know what? We're gonna roll with it. So it was just really cool getting to watch the kids come into their own, and the way we get to watch them come into their own, like the reason for it is we get to watch Vision go through hell at the edge of this horrific reality, and I gotta touch on that. When he gets up to Agnes's car, which again, I'm telling you, it's Agatha Harkness. There's no way. She's dressed as a witch. She's laughing like a witch. This whole shit's batshit. And Vision goes up to her and does the mind power snap on her. And I think what this episode's trying to do is it's trying to make you think that she's in the clear. Because of him snapping her out and her being like, oh my God, you're Vision. You're an Avenger. Are you here to save us? And he's like, I am a Vision. I don't know what an Avenger is, because again, I'm telling you, it's Vision, but it's a brand new Vision with no memories of anything that happened before. She starts tripping out. She starts saying that Wanda isn't even letting them think about escaping, and how she's basically just, again, puppet mastering the entire town. She starts laughing like crazy. Vision's trying to get a hold of her. He snaps her back into the weird reality, and she goes right back into being like a mindless robot and drives off. But here's the thing. Why was she the only one so far to the edge of town when everybody else wasn't responding, wasn't moving, wasn't even like breathing or anything towards that far into town? Why was Agnes that far? She said she got lost in the town she grew up in, which again, I guess you could say would be some sort of like Wanda thing, like Wanda just sent her off and turned her off. But why was Agnes that far? And not only that, why was she so far, but why was she still able to communicate to Vision? Like, it definitely looked like it was hard. It definitely looked like she was struggling, but she was still the only one that was able to move and talk somewhat to Vision. And then after he snaps her back into it, she just drives off. Maybe him snapping her is kind of what gave her that boost in energy to go off, but it's weird. And then we get Vision leaving the Hex, which I really thought was going to be the third fucking time we were going to watch Vision die. At this, I wouldn't put it past him. At this rate, wouldn't surprise me. But he starts deteriorating as he's trying to get out. So whatever Wanda's done has obviously been like, you cannot exist beyond this. Is that something that she did? Is it like an insurance measure? Or is that just true? Like, is Vision not going to make it out of this? Is Vision really just in this show, and this is kind of the send-off we get with him? I hope not, because I love Vision. I want to see him much more in the future, and in the future of all of the MCU. But I'm not the one writing this shit, so I don't know. And we see Wiccan's power come in, and holy shit, he senses his dad, he senses the distress, and this is the moment, the jaw-dropping cliffhanger moment of the entire show, where Wanda freezes time, she freezes the reality, you see the Scarlet Witch eyes come in, and she just expands, grow. She does anything she can, last minute measure, to save Vision while he is dying, deteriorating outside of the Hex. And this thing not only grows enough to just get Vision in it, it doesn't just save Vision. This thing starts enveloping everything around it for like miles. It keeps going. It's just taking over car dealerships. It's taking over a bunch of other shit. Like, this thing is going and it's expanding rapidly. Plus, as it's opening up, you can see that it is a Hex shape, which is pretty cool. And as Darcy is handcuffed to the Jeep or whatever, it ends up swapping, and Monica and Jimmy were supposed to be the ones going in with Darcy staying out. Now Darcy's the one in the Hex with Jimmy and Monica only the ones being out, and everyone else at Sword is inside the Hex, and now Captain Douchebag and whoever's with him are the only people outside the Hex. So this just went from being kind of a small self-contained issue to something a lot more detrimental, which is where I think we're going to see a very strange character come into play here. But Who knows? Again, I loved everything about this episode. The fact that it was Malcolm in the Middle, the fact that they were in their original Halloween costumes, Quicksilver and Evan Peters and just the whole Pietro thing the entire time being just entertaining as fuck to watch. The kids getting their powers, Vision not trusting anything, finding Agnes, learning more about Agnes, him going on the other side of the hex, and her going full Scarlet Witch and opening every new reality possibility up. I think this is just the cusp of how insane these next 3 episodes are going to be. I can't wait. Guys, by far, this was the most entertaining, the most bonkers, the most wild episode for me by far. I think we learned more information than we have in a lot of the other episodes. I loved the time frame. I loved the costumes. I loved everything. This was my favorite episode by far so far, the story so far. If you've made it this far, guys, thank you. Be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. I know I won't let you down, all right? I know it's going to be fun. We're going to have a lot more nerdgasms together, I promise. And let me know what you thought about the episode, what your favorite part was, if it was your favorite, if it was your least favorite, anything in between, what you think is coming for episode 7 next week as well. Holy shit, my brain hurts. All right, guys, without further ado, as always, I will see you very soon.